All right. Welcome to United in Green. Today, we have our friend Will again, our co-host, the man with the most. How you doing today, Will?
Doing well. It's a Wednesday, not our usual recording time, but happy to be here. I logged on to the pod today to see you change up your whole beard, your whole vibe. So it's throwing me off a bit, but I'll make do. You look good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. I've been in the middle of union negotiations at work, and it's not going as well as I had hoped. It's tiring. Um, not seeing my family as much, but getting to take in the boys soccer, which is good. So I've been able to see that, and actually got to watch one of his practices this week, and we haven't been able to see a lot of his practices. Far Post doesn't really allow a lot of visitors inside in the wintertime. So I got to go in and watch that situation, and it's way more intense than I thought it would be for a bunch of 9 and 10-year-olds. But I think Coach Todd and Coach Stage are kind of getting them ready for their big tournaments in Massachusetts. They got one like late winter, early spring tournament in Massachusetts coming up in March. So um, they're getting them ready for the physicality of it all, and doing a lot of cardio stuff. So they can. So it was fun to watch. So that was kind of like my release from all the union shit that's going on at work. Um, but today we do have a special guest, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit on the Instagram a little bit ago. Uh, we have our number one goal scorer from last season, going to be back in green this year. We'd like to welcome Deben Wegbo.
Thanks for having me.
So basically, what we did with Sam is probably do the same thing we'll do with you. We just get kind of a quick layout of like your soccer story, your origin story with soccer, and how you came to find Vermont Green.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me. I think y'all are doing a really good job with this podcast, and I'm excited to see what it can grow into because of because of like the strong following Vermont Green has. So, but yeah, I started playing when I was like I think 3 or 4 years old. My dad got me into it, loved it so much. He's from Nigeria, so Nigeria, the soccer heritage over there is incredible. And yeah, I started playing really young. And yeah, I joined a team called NASA, like North Atlanta Soccer Association, 'cause I'm from Georgia, and it was close by. And I remember always like um, wanting to play like select because at first it was obviously like recreational leading up to a certain age group. And I remember like wanting to just play select soccer so bad, but I was too young. And like I had two older brother. Well, I have two older brothers who like were playing select, and I was like 6 or 7. And yeah, it got to a point where like I was scoring too many goals, just doing, you know, it's doing too much that they ended up having to like, bump me up a few age groups. I think I was playing up 2 age groups back then. And yeah, that was great. I was still doing pretty well even in that scenario, but like it got to a point where my dad moved to Nigeria because of a job that he got. And my mom, yeah, she was trying to, still keep up with the soccer stuff, but it was difficult for her. So we ended up just all moving to Nigeria, and I lived there for 3 years, where I didn't play anything organized over there really. Like I played on the street a lot, like with like my neighbors and stuff like that. And yeah, I actually like feel like I learned a lot from my game. I got from there, just like playing every day for like hours, just on the streets, just kicking around after school or just whenever really. like either after school, like on campus, or even after school, like just my on the street, like right in front of my house. And it got to a point where like I was in middle school, and like middle school in Nigeria, and my parents were like thinking, okay, like he's about to be in high school soon. Well, for me and my siblings, and they were like, we probably get him back to the United States so he can start getting ready for college. And I went to like a college preparatory school, like an hour away from like my house in Atlanta. And there I played on the soccer team there, and it was co-ed for my last year at middle school, actually. And then after that, I played 1 year for high school team, did well, and then I ended up transferring schools to a school called North Cobb High School, which is like right by my house. Like my mom moved back to Nigeria, so it was possible to happen that way. And yeah, um I played my 10th grade year. I played for only high school, and I went to a I somehow, I don't remember how really, but I somehow got in contact with Atlanta United, and I went on a trial there when I was like 15 or 16. Did like really really well, um, but things kind of fell through, um, and I didn't end up joining them. And I got a random call one day from a guy named Matt Bellamy, to come and join his like smaller team called Smyrna Soccer Club. I went over there, and yeah, I loved it immediately. Did really well with him that one season, and then went to Alabama FC, which is where like pretty much the real soccer started. So Matt Bellamy, my coach, he moved to Alabama FC as like because he got a better role over there, and he asked me to come with him, so I did. And then I got recruited by William and Mary. Um, Played the first 3 years there, and then I ended up getting a text from my coach, and he was like, "The team called Vermont Green. Um, Adam Pfeiffer has been looking for players, and yeah, he's watched your film and he thinks you're a good player, and he's wondering if you want to like sign." So I had no idea what I was getting myself into, you know. And yeah, me and Nathan Messer got on a call with Adam Pfeiffer and just talked, and we kind of knew that like that's what we wanted out of a summer experience. So like we ended up just once the semester ended, packed our packed his car up, and just drove 10 hours. I think it was 12 hours on the just incredible journey that ended up being the inaugural season of Vermont Green. Alfredo came with us too, actually. So, and then yeah, here we are pretty much.
I gotta tell you that's the season for us. I think I'm not gonna speak for Will, but like the season for us, like it started off as just like we talked to Tyler a couple episodes ago who started the supporters group, and we didn't even know what it was going to become, where it was going to go, um, how the season was going to end up. I think, but like to a man, to a person, that we all felt that like this could be something big. And as the season kind of went along, and we watched the whole thing grow, it was pretty wild to see. You see every single game, you saw more and more people there. And I talk to a lot of people. I work at the hospital, so I talk to a lot of people, and I keep mentioning that we got this team. No, it's not a joke. You know, because soccer is, not a lot of people think Vermont and soccer. They don't really go together, and um, we started kind of meeting before the season started. and we met at Burlington Beer. The group of us, we have kind of like a core group that kind of started, and we kind of had a plan going into it, not knowing where it was going to go. So when things started to happen and you guys just kind of took off flying, it got really, really fun for us. And you know, the way that it kind of the regular season culminated, with your goal against Pioneers, and was it the game before that you had the hat trick? So like that 8-0 win, like none of us saw that coming. But I think that like I said, to a person, like we didn't know what was going to happen, but the way that it grew and the way that you guys kind of we watched you guys kind of grow as a team, um, it really helped us to kind of just say, let's keep this going and let's hope for more next season. And I think watching some of well, I think you were your name came up first as the first returnee, which was pretty awesome. And I think that Will and I had talked about it, and we knew that we wanted to talk to you as one of our first guests, and um, kind of get an idea of what you felt about Vermont, how one, or what you knew about it before you came here, and how your opinion either was confirmed or changed because of what you found through soccer here.
Yeah, so I still remember the day I got the text from my coach at William and Mary. He was saying that team in Vermont. And I was like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, totally,
right?
absolutely.
It's like, but then, I mean, Nathan Messer was already like, he was already, he already agreed to go. So, and like, that's also something that me and him talked about. We were like, yeah, it's Vermont. We don't know anything about it, but like, it's an experience that like, who knows? Like just with soccer and just life in general, like you never know like what um like what step that you take can like, because we had the intention that we wanted to like have a very good summer season, because like we had pretty bad experiences like previous summers, like just when it came to like not just like, I'm not trying to knock other teams, I'm not gonna mention them, but like just unprofessionalism from like the previous teams we've been on, and just like the lack of team spirit, the lack of like a fan base. It just felt like, it was it was literally summer soccer. We wanted something bigger than that. And then when we heard about Vermont, like having like um just like the potential of that, we just kind of took a leap of faith. And I think like Burlington is a sick place. Like it's really, really cool. So it was like I did my research and everything to see like, what were things, like cool things to do nearby. And then like the more and more I found, I was like, okay, this could be a really, really good experience, not just a good one. And then it turned out to be like the best experience of my life. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, I have to say, I think this must have, without putting words in your mouth, exceeded your expectations, because, you did walk away as an all-conference player. So how did that feel, walking away with that, recognition?
I mean, it felt good. That's the thing, is like it's a little weird because by the time I had like figured out that I'd won that, we were already like in the thick of things with our college teams. And like, like it obviously like, gave me some like uh this, this quick gratification, but it's kind of like on to the next. Got to keep it pushing, got to, focus on where I'm at now. But I was very honored to receive that award for sure.
So I've actually got a question here from the Green Mountain Boys. We've got a youth coach in our group, and he wants to know if you have a certain player you model your game after. He says, as a youth coach, his kids would love to give your take on this. Who you emulate.
Um, like I feel like my game, like it differs within the teams that I go to. You know what I mean? Like, so one of my favorite players based off of just like pure playing style is Memphis Depay. I think like the mix of like physical ability and like technical ability is incredible when it comes to him.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking of other players really. I mean,
Well, player that comes to my mind is, Bukayo Saka, really. Your
really.
goal against Pioneers was almost identical to his goal against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And right wing dominance. I see a lot of similarities. You don't have to agree with me, but it's definitely who
I
I
mean,
see.
I'll take it. Saka's one of the best players in the Premier League. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a nice it's a nice thing for me to say for sure.
Okay.
Mike and I have disagreements about that, but
It's pretty amazing that you have a Lily White and a Gooner having a podcast together. But
Yeah.
that's what Vermont does to you. So
we agree to disagree on certain days.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I think the we'll just get to the meat and potatoes here. We have another question from another listener right now who everybody wants to know the answer, and I know that that night I had seen you when you were leaving rerun, and I asked you and you just kind of smiled at me and kept on walking. Shot or pass? Were you crossing it? Were you crossing it?
Okay. I'm happy that I'm here now so I can finally explain myself. This is perfect. This is perfect. So it was like, so I saw Owen running in the box when I got the ball, but like I was so tired and like I knew that I wasn't like shaped like properly to get it to him well. So like I literally was trying to like put it on frame so the keeper could like either spill it. I was trying to make the keeper's life like, miserable. I was trying to like, have him like mess up, like either parry it over the bar for like a corner or just like spill it. And then it just ended up going in. So technically like it was like kind of a shot, but like I shot without like really thinking I was gonna score, if that makes sense. But
it makes absolute sense. I can tell you that my son played his first year of middle school ball this year, and he took a corner that actually curled and went in, and it was right at the end of the game, and I asked him the same question, and he was like, and he's a pretty honest kid, and he was like, "There's no way I was shooting that ball."
Yeah, that's too honest. That's way too honest for me.
Yeah,
But
I know.
like,
I told him, I was like, "Man, you gotta own that."
yeah,
that was
it's
a
just
hell
like,
that was a hell of a corner kick, but
yeah,
yeah,
well,
we
you put the
appreciate
ball in a dangerous location.
Why not?
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You put it in the most
Good
dangerous
think that.
location, back of the net. That was one of the loudest moments in the stands that we had ever.
100%.
The eruption after that goal, intentional or not, doesn't really matter. The effect is the same.
Yeah.
And it was quite a moment against Pioneers, who when you're talking about the opposition in the league, I mean, maybe you have a different opinion on this, but it doesn't get much tougher than Pioneers and Seacoast. Were there any other teams that really gave you guys trouble?
In the league, yeah, I mean, Bolts the first time they were pretty hard to shake down. But we fixed everything the second time we played them. But besides that, I can't really remember a team that was, really well. Oh, BlackRock. BlackRock, when we went to them, that was tough. And like we dominated the entire game, but you know how soccer goes. Like they just got one shot and they just scored, and then we were just running out of ideas, I guess. But it's just how the game goes sometimes. Sure.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because like I don't recall a moment where we really watched you guys like face any kind of adversity to the point where it got you guys down.
Yeah.
You guys were a team that came back from any kind of adversity, and quite honestly, I think that's a testament to like the coaching staff and
Yeah.
how they prepared you guys. You guys always came to the game prepared, ready to go. And we in the crowd always felt the energy from you guys, even in the pregame. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we were in the parking lot having our own kind of fun, getting ready for the game and getting hyped up. And it really helped us to see, like, from kickoff to the final whistle, that you guys were just out there to play. You were
Yeah.
energetic. And we did talk about this with Sam last time, was like, it was almost like two different seasons, with the players that we got to see.
Yeah.
And I honestly liked the second half of the season kind of better. Um, not to discount, like, again, not to discount what the
Yeah.
guys in the first group did. But like, I think it got more exciting for me, and definitely for my family, when we would come to the games, seeing you guys, you know, uh, uh, interact with the crowd, I
Mhm.
guess. And it just, and it made the games more exciting for everybody, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is I think yeah, it does always start from the top. Adam and Ruben and Chris, they did like a really good job of like creating like very good just like he made us like care for each other, I feel like. And when you have that, like people are gonna run harder for each other. They're gonna be like fearless for each other, like, just build each other up. So I feel like we were also like we all became friends as well. Like everybody was happy for like the next guy, like no matter the situation. So like I feel like when it's like, everybody's intentions are pure the way they were, then like especially like even from the fans too, all the intentions were pure. Everybody like was bought in. Like the focus, like the club was the biggest thing. The club came first. And I feel like that's just with a good coaching staff and good players, like success is really the um only answer that comes out of that, I feel like.
And speaking of the coach, I mean, did he sort of have a clear idea from the start as to formation and tactics, or was it sort of a, develop as you go through preseason? Because from what I can remember, it was basically a 4-2-3-1 the entirety of the season.
Yeah, I think he had an idea, like a good idea, but like I think he just wanted to test pieces early on in the season, like see what balances could work out. And yeah, I mean, it was also that with a mix of like, let's say we had two games in a week. It's about balance, playing people like to, I guess give them breaks whenever they needed it, and just managing minutes and like, load and all that. So I think it was just a mix of trying to find the right pieces to go into like the system that he had anticipated, I guess.
So his yeah, like, I think, like, what Will is saying too is like, what I kind of saw was like, it was a little bit more free flowing than kind of mechanical movements. I don't know if, like, when you guys like practice, if there were any, like, and I'll say, like, being a Tottenham fan, watching Conte, everything is so mechanical and it's almost choreographed to a point
Hmm.
where the game at times doesn't seem very fun to watch.
Hmm.
um with you guys, like, in what the reason I bought into Spurs years ago was because the style of play was kind of free flowing and fun, and
Hmm.
just kind of wide open, but like also dominance in the midfield, and kind of that's what I saw with you guys, and it really helped me kind of connect with the team too, and connect with the game. But I don't know if you had seen, if there were any kind of, like, choreographed mechanical type movements that you guys put into game situations at all.
Um, there was actually a time of the season when it was like very early on when we literally would just work on trying to break down a defensive unit. And I feel like that's when we really, started, the like but let me say the button started clicking, I guess. Like when because I remember like it was I think we went 2 games without a win. Adam wasn't having it at all. He was like, this is not like we're way too talented of a team to be going like this. So we already had ball playing center backs, like center backs who were good with the ball at their feet. And we had like literally all the pieces. We had technical midfielders like Alfredo, like Rodri, like Pacella, and such and such. We had like all the good pieces, but I think it was just a matter of like chemistry and kind of like knowing what people like. So we ended up just like kind of doing drills that would help us kind of get like more familiarity with each other. And then it got to a point where you kind of just people just know each other, and that's pretty much what a team is. So
So do you think the culmination of all of that ended up being the 8-0 against Pathfinder? Because that really set up the run in for the rest of the season.
yeah, honestly, like that red card in the first second of the game was also probably something that I do back ourselves to have won that game comfortably because I felt like we were like better than them by a decent margin, but like that red card in the first half, like first second of the game, was very unfortunate for them. And yeah, and when we were all confident, everybody was really ticking. Like it could have been worse, to be fair, but we'll take 8-0.
That's fair. And I think you could look back to the game previously against Blackwatch. I mean, you ended up with 3-0 win there. So, things were
Yeah.
humming along at that point. So I suppose the red card definitely come into play there. But, how does it feel to sub on and score a hat trick? Because that's quite an accomplishment, though.
It felt great. Because I've been actually struggling with an injury like all season. Like I struggled with it. I got hurt against AC Connecticut. Like I like messed up my ankle really bad. And I was like, practicing some days I wouldn't practice. And I was like fighting, trying my best to come back. And then the day before the game, day 0 game, like it was feeling decent but not great. And then I woke up and I was like, okay, I can definitely play on this. And I was just hungry and came in and just didn't expect to score a hat trick, but I was hungry and the ball just kept falling for me. So I just kept on, doing what I know how to do.
So did that injury keep you out from the Blackwatch game because you weren't in the lineup that night? Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Blackwatch, Boston City. It was a few games. It was like I think 3 I missed in a row. Western Mass the first time we played them.
It does explain why you went missing because we don't really get injury updates in USL too. So I did notice you had disappeared from the lineup for a time. So
yeah, it was rough, but the guys were by my side, the coaches were by my side, and then like it was honestly it was great just coming back and then being able to play the last few games consistently because like being out for 3 games in like a short season is not ideal or fun. And I just kind of like taking a step back and like being grateful to be able to like play, just literally just get on that field. It's just great.
So speaking of which, it's a short season, it's a summer season, so part of it is off-season training for you. Did you view this as a chance to experiment with your role? Because I know you started on the right wing predominantly, but there were a couple games where you started in the striker spot. So is that something that you've done before, or was that sort of an experiment?
I've played striker before, like especially like in club, and I played striker for William and Mary, like sporadically, like here and there. So I mean, it's not. I think my best role is probably on the wing, but it also changes with like I guess my form, like how I'm feeling mentally and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it
I mean,
definitely
it
goes
wasn't.
back to your comparison to Depay because, like him, he plays, on the wing and as the forward. So
Yeah, exactly. And I think the system is really like the most important thing because at the end of the day, like wingers and strikers are all forward players who have like similar jobs. So yeah.
So a bit of a random question, but as I'm thinking about this, part of the thing that got the crowd so keyed up during the season was the announcer Tom Proctor Was he somebody? Could you hear him on the field?
Yeah, yeah, we could.
It's so interesting
Yeah,
because you're not
yeah,
used to live commentary,
yeah,
and so I suppose it might have been entertaining for the players as well to hear the announcer, geeing up the crowd and sort of taking
yeah,
little shots here and there at the opposing players. It
yeah.
really creates a hostile environment for the away team. So
Yeah, I forgot what game it was. I forgot what game it was, but he was, getting active. And I was like running after like a ball and he said something and I was just like, that's actually hilarious. Like, well, I'm trying to focus on the game. But yeah, great stuff though, for sure, from him.
Um, we have another question actually from another live viewer. What away game do you think you would want to see in away days for the Green Mountain Boys? What place was the most hostile for you guys, and would the Green Mountain Boys be able to help you out if we were to go to an away days?
I think, hostile. I'd probably say um Boston Bolts. I mean, they didn't have many fans, but like they had some guys saying some pretty, pretty not so nice stuff. But I mean, that's the thing though, is like I think it wasn't enough to like really get under our skin though. So it's just like that's the thing is when you take like our team compared to like any other team like in our conference, like Vermont Green was like the best like by far when it came to like fan support too. So it was just like, we had our confidence from you guys and we didn't really like I think we were so keyed in on like what we had going on that we weren't really like even pressed about whatever anybody else was talking about from other teams. So, but I'd probably say Boston, like Boston Bolts though, just because nobody else was really talking about anything really.
well, I
It's
mean, that's good because it's the opening game of the season. I've already got 7 guys confirmed for it. So, we're talking
It's
about
great.
getting some support down there for the opening day. So it
Awesome.
should be a
Awesome.
good time.
it
It'd be
will be a
great.
good time. Yeah, I think that like our group I like to think that we kind of help drive some of the excitement around it around the club too. And I loved watching the crowd get into it, like from the north side of the stands all the way down to us in the south side of the stands. I really think that like as the season went on, and the emotion grew, and it got hotter outside, and more people were out and having fun. It wasn't rainy anymore. And people just wanted to get out and have fun in the summertime. And just being part of that was so awesome. But on the other side of it, watching you guys like on some of the live streams for the away games, you see 2, 3, 4 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to watch. And I think that kind of speaks to what kind of a community Burlington is. Um, Obviously, it's our largest city, but like we have other towns around us that contribute to that city, and people were actually coming from as far away as Montpelier and Middlebury and Rutland and like southern Vermont to come up and watch you guys. And I think that really put a charge into us to help get the crowd going and be kind of cheerleaders. Um, and and any kind of support that you guys can get, that we can help provide, we're going to do that for you guys. And hopefully we'll have a couple of away days. Like Will said, we got 7 guys confirmed already to go down. And hopefully maybe we get a playoff game maybe at home this year, if the club is looking at trying to do that for us. And I think it'd be a great place and a great experience, just watching what you guys got to experience, in the playoff game, which kind of
Yeah.
brings me to my next question. What was your experience in the playoffs for USL2, getting outside of the conference that you guys played in the regular season?
Um, it's actually very interesting because so William and Mary, like the school I just finished up at, like we are based in Virginia. So like Lionsbridge is like, I guess, the ideal place for you to go if you're trying to stay like in the Williamsburg area because it's like a 20-minute drive. So when we found out we were gonna play Lionsbridge, it's like, okay, so we're playing against like half of our team at William and Mary. So like me, Nathan, well, Alfredo had left to Spain, but at least us two in particular, we were kind of like we were very excited. Like there were actually like no nerves whatsoever. At least I can't speak on him, but for me, no nerves at all. Like I was so excited because like one of our best friends, Alexander Levingood, played on Lionsbridge as well with like a few other teammates. So we were like pumped talking about it before the game, having like the like just trash talk to like guys who like guys who like we're really like close with like off the field. And like it was nice to like because I had to see them all summer to like see them again for the first time in that setting, like being on the field battling for like, the two like some huge sides throughout the league. It was great. Like it didn't feel like real. It felt like like this is just written perfectly in the script. And then to go there and win in front of all those people, like, coming and claiming the territory was just great. It was
especially
awesome.
with a red card that shouldn't have happened.
That was crazy because yeah, it was
They
never a
came
red
back
card.
after the
Yeah.
fact and said that wasn't a second yellow.
Yeah.
And we all knew that because we were all watching it at Vivid Coffee, so we had a big crowd there, and we all kind of were like questioning what was going on, but that was one of the most fun parts of the season, but it's again, it's just we are so excited to carry that into this season too, and to see like because of what you guys did last season. They just announced today that they have 750 season tickets sold for a 2,500 capacity place. That's huge. You guys are likely going to have sellouts for every game just because of the way that the community supports, semi-pro and professional leagues in this town, in this area. It's fantastic. And I can't be more excited for it than I am now. In fact, I had only purchased tickets for my son and myself. And my daughter went to a bunch of games last year, and she was actually more of a cheerleader than my son was because he was out in the back of the stands playing pickup with his buddies, on the lacrosse fields back there. But
It's funny.
those kids, they can't watch more than 5 minutes without having to go and play themselves,
Yeah.
So, but my daughter got into it. She's 14 years old, and she got into it. She loves going to her brother's games, and she got right into it to the point where she stole my scarf and one of my jerseys. So, um, uh, pretty awesome. And I can't wait to see what happens going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a couple other questions, really Vermont, New England based type questions though.
Yeah.
One is, do you know what a creamy is?
A creamy?
Yeah.
Nah.
It's a soft serve ice cream.
Okay. Yeah.
The question was, what is your favorite flavor of creamy? Did you have any soft serve ice cream?
I never did.
No. Okay.
Never did.
Well, you gotta check that off your list this season.
Yeah.
It comes in maple, black raspberry, chocolate. Is it a terrible name? Maybe, but it is the name.
Maybe, definitely.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
But to go off that, did you guys have a favorite restaurant or spot to hang out outside of your living quarters during the season?
I mean, Burlington beer was cool. Like that's pretty much that's pretty much all I went to. I mean, that in downtown Burlington, just like going through the city was
Mhm.
cool to walk around. I forgot the name of what's the beach called again? Um,
Well, there's a
was
couple. There's North Beach right there.
yeah, I think it's North Beach. I think that's what it was. Me and
That was like
some of the guys.
through the campground area.
Yeah. Yeah, so we went there a lot because the weather was so nice most of the time. So that's pretty much it, really. I mean, it was that and just soccer and looking for the weekends. So yeah.
Got another question for the Mountain Boys here. If you had to choose between University of Georgia and Ja Tech, who you siding with?
Probably University of Georgia.
All
Probably.
right. Any reason for that?
I think it's just because I know more people there.
Fair enough.
Probably. Yeah.
You don't want to be Yellow Jacket anyway. Screw that.
Yeah.
So I guess going forward, you have a cast of returning players and some new players. Um, do you know any of the newer players first?
Um, Not really. I don't not the guys who have been announced so far. I don't really know any of them outside of I guess I know that they go to same schools as some of the guys who were on the team last year, but I don't know them personally. So that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah. The other half of the question is like, which of the returning guys do you think you're gonna mesh with best? What this comes from our buddy Danny V. Uh, which of the guys do you think you're gonna returning players do you think you're gonna mesh with the best? Which ones do you play better with versus some of the others? Do you have a favorite like line mate, or do you have a link up person that you guys really kind of get together and makes the game easier for you to play?
I'd probably say overall probably Charlie. Charlie's he's
My boy Charlie.
yeah, he's actually the most unselfish player I've ever played with. He's always looking to feed me. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice that he's coming back because he really, bursted to life when he got his chance. So confidence will do wonders for anybody. And when he's confident, he is a brilliant player. So for sure.
I think that I really enjoy I really enjoy watching you guys. The physicality, I think, is the biggest part of it for me. And the difference in watching the college game this year, I never really paid much attention to the college game, um, but the difference between watching the college game and watching you guys in the USL two, um, I think the college game has its spots um, where it's really really fun to watch, and it could be really interesting, but the precision isn't there. The physicality is always there. Everybody's always trying to make their mark on the game, put their mark on the game, make the big tackle, make the big interception in the midfield, or win that 50-50 ball. Um, but watching that level to the USL 2 level is it's I didn't really expect the USL 2 level to be as exciting and fun as it is. Um, and I kind of liken it to like the Cape Cod Baseball League, uh, like the wood bat, uh, pre-professional league where so many big professional baseball players came out of. We saw a lot of that um, come to fruition in the USL 2 with guys getting drafted from your team. So I guess my question is, where do you see yourself after this? Do you see yourself looking to hopefully get drafted. Oh, obviously you want to get drafted and you want to progress your career, but do you think that, where do you think your future lies as far as going through the ranks of the USL, or hoping to get onto an MLS team, or maybe playing in Europe or Mexico or somewhere outside of the States?
Um, I think the end goal would probably be to play in Europe. But I think like just honestly, grand scheme, complete I guess outlook is that I would like to just play at the highest level I can. Like whether that's, like MLS or just anywhere really that I just know that I'm challenged and that like I'm growing. I just want to push myself like the furthest I can go. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, putting all this hard work, just hopefully you get rewarded one day. So
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The question I have, and maybe this is, I've just been, looking up your career over here while we're talking. I noticed that you were called up for the Nigerian under 20, under 17s, and I just think that's so fascinating. Could you kind of talk about that experience to, play for that organization?
yeah, I didn't end up playing in any games. What happened was it was um it was crazy actually. I was a senior in high school and I just randomly received like just an email, like just a random email saying that I've been invited to the U17 national team, like camp, like leading up to like the what's it called? I think it was like some African like Cup of Nations, U17 African Cup
The
of Nations.
U17 African Cup of Nations. Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was in Tanzania. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember like so I ended up going when I was like still in high school, like I was just about to graduate high school. And the thing is that like when you like take 2 weeks off of like school, like just absences like back to back, they drop you from the roll. And like since it was my last semester, I wouldn't have been able to do that while I wouldn't have been able to graduate if I'd stayed. So it was like I was there for 2 weeks. Like I made like the last cut before like it was the second to last cut I made because it was like I think 80 people at first, and then it got on to like 40, and I was in the last 40, and then I ended up having to like withdraw because if I didn't, I would have not been able to graduate high school. So it was like it was interesting the way it was going because there was a lot of adversity. There were really, really, really good players who are now playing like in some of the biggest leagues in Europe now from that team. So it would have been very interesting to see like if I had like, you know, taken a risk, that would have been interesting. But like at the end of the day, like the journey is what it is. And I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. And I'm happy with where I'm going too. So
What players did you have a chance to meet over there?
there's this guy named Samson Tijani. He plays for Salzburg now in the Austrian Bundesliga. There's a guy named Akin Amo. He went to Sweden, and Ruben actually knows him. That's funny. We had a conversation. Ruben actually like knows him. Some, I guess, because he knows like African players that play in Sweden or Scandinavia. But he got to move to like Copenhagen in Denmark, which is pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking of other players like um, that's pretty much all I can think of right now. But yeah, I mean, Salzburg and Copenhagen is pretty cool. So
I mean, yeah, that definitely is. I mean, I know Tijani on Salzburg, so
yeah,
that's awesome. It's an awesome experience to have.
yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to give you this kind of quick moment to plug yourself here and plug your own podcast, because you do have a podcast and I'm a subscriber. I actually haven't listened to the recent podcast, which is the Xavi and Iniesta and Modric, but I did weigh in on Instagram and I honestly, for my money, and I don't think anybody beats Pete Iniesta, but Luka's still doing it, man. Like
Yeah,
still doing it. Like watching that game yesterday, Jesus, man.
masterclass,
That dude
masterclass.
can put a ball in, man. And at that age, there's nothing like watching Luka Modric just do his thing. Especially the way he linked up with Bale for all those years. Both Tottenham and Madrid. But I'll give you this chance to kind of plug yourself if you want.
Yeah, please, listeners out there, y'all need to go and listen to some Hot Take FC hosted by me, Nathan Mester, and our dear friend Alexander Levingood. We just honestly just talk about the world of soccer, and we do it in a very like conversational type manner. Like no, like we don't really hold back. We give our full, honest opinions of like what's going on in the soccer world, and sometimes it's let's just say it's a good listen. Let me not say too much. It's like really good listen. It's really funny. So if you're ever looking for a laugh, just look up Hot Take FC, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is.
I got a really good kick out of it was a couple of episodes ago. Was it Messer was having issues with his audio
Oh my gosh, that was
and he kept on cutting
so
out.
funny.
I
So funny.
actually love that because my other podcast that I do, I've had so many issues where um not necessarily audio issues, but I'll be talking for like 3 minutes or trying to interrupt one of my other co-hosts, and I've had my mic muted for the entire time.
Oh,
Those guys get on me. I'm kind of the fodder for the entire podcast, but um, because those guys are smarter football minds than mine. But the podcast world is actually a perfect outlet, and listening to you guys talk, it sounds kind of the way that we wanted to shape our podcast, not just here, but my Wicked Spursy podcast as well. And it's just like three dudes having a conversation, maybe over a beer, watching the game, talking about the game, and just three buddies having a conversation. That's what I get out of Hot Take FC, and I really enjoy it. It's fun to listen
yeah,
to.
yeah. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, it's funny because like it was a idea for like 2 years, and then we ended up actually like you know getting after it. And I wish we were more consistent, but now that we're all separated right now, it's kind of hard to find like times because something always comes up. But yeah,
Hey, well, look, I just hit the subscribe button. I see an episode here called "Is Harry Kane the best player in the Prem?" I can answer that question for you right now, but I'll still give it a listen. So
Ugh.
okay, yeah, Tanya, yeah. It is what it is. I
That
mean,
was after he
I
broke
would,
the record. That's
yeah, yeah. I mean, I could talk about soccer all day long, but let's like let me
he
not give
doesn't.
my opinion.
I'm sure Diva doesn't want to start a fight between me and Will right now. So,
I don't.
well, it was just an immense pleasure to have you here today, and I know for myself, my son, and all of his buddies on his team, you're their favorite player. You're the guy they go there to see. Um, and I do have a picture that I want to have kind of blown up of after that last game of Pioneers. My son, you're giving my son an autograph, and I just want I'd love for you to sign it if you could, but that's just me being a
Yeah.
fanboy and my son being a fanboy. Because that was like the only game that like all the boys were like just they stuck to, and they had the little cheering section up at the top of the bleachers, but um it was the first game that all those boys actually just sat there and watched the entire game. And if you guys can give even a little bit of excitement to people once or twice a week around here. It's awesome. It gives people an escape from daily life. It gives people a chance to enjoy a quality product that you guys put out on the field, and the club really promotes community, and that's what we love, and that's what we love about you and all of your teammates and the club, and we're going to be there supporting you no matter what happens. So
Thank you
I'll
so
let Will sign off with his kind of final thoughts too.
much.
Yeah, don't have too much for you. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the pitch this summer. I guess my final question for you is, what's the goal here this season? What are you shooting for?
Need to be lifting a trophy at the end of the season.
There we go.
Like, if we can do it in front of our home fans, that would make it incredible. But the trophy, bringing it back is the main goal, So yeah.
We'll make sure that we have a parade if there's a damn trophy, man.
Oh, that'd be crazy stuff for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
go out there, entertain the crowd, win the conference, and absolutely bring back a trophy to Vermont.
Yeah, that would be. It's like it's the dream. It's day by day though. Gotta put in the work, and hopefully it's part of the plan. So yeah.
Very good. Well, for myself, I would love to say thank you to Diva, thank you to Will. I appreciate both you guys, and hope to see you next time on United